In my last video, I teased that I might be providing some services as far as helping people set up their virtual private servers to run masternodes. And the reason I teased it is I wasn't really sure that I wanted to do it with the time commitment, and then also just wasn't sure about the logistics. However, in the meantime, I've decided that, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. I've had a lot of people interested in the possibility. So I want to walk you through what you should do for anyone that you hire to do this, whether it's me or whether it's someone else. Now we're going to use this example, Zios, which is a dead coin. That coin forked into a new coin called Zeus, and Zios no longer exists. So just as an example of what you would need to walk through in order to make this work. So the first thing is that anytime you load the wallet, you're going to have something that looks kind of like this, kind of a dashboard. Sometimes this menu here is across the top instead of down the side, but usually it's fairly similar. You've got a dashboard and then a receive, a send, transactions, sometimes an address book, and usually a masternodes tab. And then depending on the particular coin, there might be some other features such as a block explorer or messages. Now, additionally, at the top, you usually have either a tools or a help. And in the help or the tools, there'll be a debug window or a console. If you click on that, it will bring up something that looks like this. And what you want is the console. Sometimes it's called console, sometimes it's called debug. And here is where you're going to enter the commands that are necessary in order to create your masternode. Of course, the very first step in running a masternode is having the requisite number of coins. This is called your collateral. So a standard number is 1,000. That came from Dash. They're the first ones to ever use masternodes. And so a lot of coins followed suit, and 1,000 is the number. Some are 5,000, some are 25,000, or even higher. So you have to have the number of coins in your wallet first. And you can't just have it anywhere in your wallet. It needs to be in a specific address. So typically, if you're going to run a masternode, you're going to buy 1,001 of whatever the coins is, assuming it's 1,000 collateral. If it's 5,000, you're going to buy 5,001. So you've got your coins sitting in your wallet. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a new address. Now, with some coins, you can just click on send and then generate a new address from there. Others, you've got to do it a more specific way. So this should work for any of them, but specifically the ones that require it. You're going to type get account address 0, and it's going to generate an address for you. Now, again, some masternode coins, you don't have to do this step. You can just generate it from the wallet itself. Others require you to do it from this particular step. And you're going to copy this address right here, and you're going to copy it into a Word file. And you're going to paste that right in there. So what we're going to do then is we're going to send the collateral to that particular address. So go ahead and copy it. And now we're going to send, and we're going to pay to that particular wallet, and you're going to send your 1,000 coin. Now, this wallet doesn't have 1,000 coin in it, so I can't do that. So in this case, I've got 0.33333. So let's go ahead and send that. And you might want to make your label say masternode. That way you'll always know, hey, what was that? Click send. And if you need to unlock it, and yes. All right, so now we've sent a payment to ourselves. And if you go to transactions, you'll see that we sent a payment to yourself. And if you double click on that, you're going to see a transaction ID. Now, this transaction ID is what we're going to need in order to create your masternode. Now, in addition to that, we also need a status flag. In order to get that status flag, what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the debug window, and you're going to type masternode outputs, and it'll show you that transaction ID that we just put right here. And then afterwards, it'll have a status, and the status will be either 1 or 0. And what you're going to do is you're going to put that into your masternode.conf file. Your masternode.conf file will be found in a hidden folder. Unless you change the default location when you first run the wallet. But by default in Windows, it's going to be in user, then your users / your username / appdata/roaming/ the name of the coin. And then it'll be called masternode.conf or master.conf. And it might not exist at first, so you might have to create it. And it will end up looking something like this. So in this case, we're going to call it CoinX Masternode 1 and then 1. This can be anything you want it to be. It's just the name that is meaningful to you. Then we're going to have an IP address that I provide to you. That'll be your virtual private server. If you're working with someone else, they'll need to provide that to you. And then the port that the coin requires. I just made up this port right here, so it doesn't mean anything. And then a Masternode key that I'll show you how to generate in just a moment. And then you'll need that transaction ID along with that status that you just found by typing in Masternode outputs. And so now let's go look at how to generate that Masternode key. So here you're just going to type in Masternode and then gen key, and it will generate a key. So what we'll do is we will copy that and we'll paste it right in on top of this Masternode key here. So your masternode.conf file is basically saying, hey, there's a Masternode out there and it's related to the key that I just generated, which in turn is associated with the collateral transaction right here. And that lets the network know that you have the right amount of collateral to run a Masternode. If for some reason you ever use that coin and take that collateral, put it somewhere else, then when the system looks at this transaction ID, it's not going to find your collateral and it's not going to give you your rewards for running a Masternode. So this is the only thing that's needed really for you to do on your end is you have to provide me with a Masternode key and you have to configure your masternode.conf file to look kind of like this. I'll provide you with a VPS, you generate the key, and you generate your transaction for the collateral. So the coins will never leave your wallet and you never give me your private key to the wallet. This Masternode key is not your private key. Never again, never give your private keys to anyone. So what I generally recommend is that you keep a little file that looks something like this for your records. So here's your master name label. We're going to call it CoinX Masternode 1. The collateral address that you generated by get account address 0. Then the collateral transaction ID when you sent your collateral to that. And then you'll also want to put the flag after it, whether it was a 1 or a 0. And then you're going to do that Masternode gen key and paste that in here. And then finally the VPS IP address, which is what I'm going to give you. And it's not a bad idea to go ahead and put the port in, whatever the port is for your coin. Each coin has its own port that it uses. So in summary, I will provide you with the virtual private server IP address. You will provide me with a Masternode key. And then either of us can choose these. They're kind of, it doesn't really matter what they are, but it's really helpful if the server and the wallet have the same RPC user and password. The password, you want it to be kind of long and random characters, and you want to avoid special characters because sometimes that causes some issues. The final thing that you need to do on your end is then create a masternode.conf line that's going to look like this, like we walked you through a few minutes ago. Once you've provided me with those things and you've configured your .conf file correctly, it's just a matter of getting your local wallet and the online wallet to be fully synced to the blockchain. And then all you have to do is in your wallet, you'll click on the masternodes. You'll see yours right here and you'll click start. And if everything goes right, it'll become enabled or sometimes pre-enabled. Pre-enabled, sometimes it just takes a little while for the system to sync together and it'll magically pop. So I provide basically 2 levels of service. The basic level is you go out and get your own virtual private server, and then I will just configure it for you. The higher level of service is I'll get the private server, I will maintain the private server for you, and if anything goes wrong with it, I'll troubleshoot it. With the lower level of service, I really only troubleshoot the first week. So I make sure it's up and running and I make sure that everything works well for the first week. If anything breaks after that, or if you need to update, then you'll need to do the updates yourself, or you'll have to hire someone else to do that, or you could hire me to do that again. With the higher level of service, I will actually be renting the VPS. I'll configure it, and I will also do all the troubleshooting and maintenance of it. So when a new wallet comes out, or if some sort of system needs to be upgraded, I'll go ahead and upgrade that for you, and I'll also make sure it runs. If there's a problem, then I will also troubleshoot that for you for free with the higher level of service. There's a link in the video description. Click on the link. It'll take you to a form and fill that out, and we can work together.